good to be on the program tonight with you. Hope you're being blessed and strengthened in the things of the Lord. I hold in my hand here this evening some papers that has the reports of something that took place in the nation concerning transgenders. We're going to talk about that tonight, but first I want to prime the pump by sharing with you what I don't just believe is common sense. What is common sense? Common sense is what gets us through life. It is what finds answers for problems that sometimes come from nowhere. Common sense is tied, strongly tied to spirituality. A people loses their ability to judge. They lose their ability to understand. They lose their ability to discern when they have no spiritual understanding, when they have no spirituality about themselves. The Bible is the spiritual book that feeds the spiritual man, that is you and me. That is one of the three components that makes us up, who we are, the way that we were designed, the way that God made us. He made us a body, a soul, and a spirit. In order to have common sense, a proper thought process, proper thinking, proper thoughts, we have to be spiritual people. And not only spiritual people, but our spirituality must be in tune with the Creator, for He is the positive force of the universe. Common sense is what makes the world tick. It's what makes it move. It's not education and learning and the higher learnings of Harvard and Yale and Princeton, you see. What these people do is they teach you formulas. These people go into these schools and they pay large sums of money to learn formulas of how things are supposed to work. But then when they get out and they put their formula to work, and somebody in the business, well, don't go along with the formula and messes the formula up. Then these people who have spent thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and years and years and years in colleges have no idea what to do. For they have only been taught the formula. If we do this for poverty, if we do this for welfare, if we do this for society and the betterment of society. But then when you put that formula to work, and because of different reasons the formula does not work, they have no clue whatsoever where to go. Because see, all they have is they have book sense, and they have become educated fools, as some people have said. When these people get into power, and that's mostly what has been there, from Harvard, from Yale, from Princeton, from Kennedy School of Government, when these people get in office and they try these social formulas out, and somebody in the formula don't do what the formula says do, and therefore the formula now is not working. Because in order to get the formulas to work, everybody has to do what they're supposed to do. And you see, common sense tells us in the real world, nobody ever does that. You see, God has had that same problem. God created a formula. And the people that He put in that formula to work that formula messed it up. That was called Adam and Eve, and they messed the whole thing up. God then had to do something to correct the problem, and what He had to do was not originally in the formula. But that's not the mindset of these spiritually dead human beings that now has replaced spirituality with Harvard educations. If the formula don't work, they have no clue where to go, what to do, because they cannot apply common sense. They're like robots that's been programmed to one thing and one way. So the answer to these, pre-programmed robots is more money. If the welfare system now is being abused and being destroyed, and now it's costing more and more and more and more, but it's not working. There's terrible abuse in it. There's able-bodied people now that's getting the money and getting the food stamps and taking $150 worth of food stamps or $350 worth of food stamps downtown and selling $300 worth of food stamps for $100 cash so that they can go buy their dope and buy their alcohol. The system's not working. And we see the system falling all around us, and we know that it's not working. And these pre-programmed robots that come from Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Kennedy School of Government that's now in the White House, they say it's not working, what do we do? And they say, well, it's the formula, so it has to work, so what it needs is more money. Put more money in it. The educational system has gone to Hades, we might say, in a handbasket. Everybody knows that the educational system is gone. Everybody knows we're the laughing stock of the world. Everybody knows that we're where we were once first and second and this and that. We're now 50th and 43rd in the world in math and in spelling. We've even reached a place now to where we actually graduate people from this educational system that is, well, the formula. We now educate people. We now give them a diploma. And they're proven to be on a third grade reading level. But whenever we see that the formula is not working with education, these pre-programmed robots from Harvard and these schools, since they cannot see, think, nor apply common sense because they are spiritually dead, the most of them, what is the answer? What the answer always is: more money. If we make the schools bigger, if we invest more in our students, they will do better. If we give them prettier schools, it will make them have a sense of worth. But you see, schools do not. The beautifying of school property has absolutely no power whatsoever to change human nature. Now, you would think that that was simple enough that a body could understand it, especially from Harvard or Yale. But it's proven they don't understand it. They believe that if we will put better basketball courts in the neighborhood, it will change people for good. It will change society for good. Put more money in it. That's always the answer. When they see it failing, it's always put more money in it. Common sense. Jesus Christ is God manifested in the flesh when he was on the earth. Jesus is God. Now, Jesus is the creator, the Bible reveals to us, that all things was made by him and for him. He's the one that created the atoms. He's the one that created the molecules, the molecular structures. He's the one that created the photons and protons and all this stuff. If anybody wanted to talk or deal with that issue scientifically, nobody could do it better than the one that created it. But when Jesus came into the world, he did not come talking about photons and protons and all these things. He came talking the simplest talk a human, the Creator, not the top scientist at Harvard, the Creator. He came talking about and revealing such things as, if you plant it, it will grow. There's a thought. He came with such ideas and promoting the, common sense. Saying that if you sow bountifully a whole bunch, you will reap bountifully. If you sow sparingly a little bit, you will reap a little bit. Now you would say that that is so simple that it's really a waste of time to even sit here and talk about it. Who don't know that? Who don't understand that simple principle that the Lord came? Well, most of the world don't understand that simple principle. Let me ask you, have you ever heard someone who planted a small field, got a small crop, and someone down the road planted a large field, got a large crop? And then in one way or the other, the person who planted the small field became envious and jealous of the person and what they have who planted the big field, making statements such as, why do they deserve the finer car? Why do they deserve better stuff than me? It is because they planted more stuff than you. Then if you put it on the market, you have more to sell than you do. And if they have more to sell than you do, then they have more to buy with than you do. And then they have more stuff than you do. If they have put the effort in, the labor in, and the work in that you have not put in, well, they get more than you get. We have an entire world right now at war over that most basic common sense rule and law. It's the struggle and the war between the classes, when it really is nothing but envy and the hatred of people who has more than you have because they worked for it and got it. So see, those simple principles are not really simple at all. If we understood, and if the whole of society could understand that simple principle that the Creator came here speaking, do you know how much of a better world it would be? There would be those in it who sowed plenty and got plenty, and then there would be others who said, well, now if I do what they did, I can have what they have. And so I'm going to sow plenty and I'm going to work harder. Or either there would be those who said, look, I really don't care about having all that. And a smaller field is just fine for me. That's a content soul. He don't have to have what the other people has, and his envious nature, sin nature, does not destroy his good common sense, make him hate people for having more because they worked more, for having more because they planted more. It's just common sense. Now, with that said, we have a thing called discerning of spirits. It is a gift, the Bible says, that God gave to us. Common sense is that we discern, as the Bible says, our right hand from our left hand. Those in the city of Nineveh, when God was fixing to destroy it, had lost all of their spirituality. And he said they no longer could judge their right hand from their left. And it was about to bring destruction upon the city. America has now found ourselves, in just such a loathsome position that we no longer can judge our right hand from our left hand. Why is it that we cannot judge our right hand from our left hand? Because all common sense evaporated with the death of spirituality. And that spirituality connected to the Bible and to the God of that Bible. When the spirituality of the American people was locked into that Bible, we created the greatest power the world has ever known. We created the wealthiest people the world ever has known. Not only did we do that, but we also created the wealthiest poor people the world has ever known. That's right. Those in poverty in America are richer than almost 3/4 of this planet. But we've lost our spirituality now, and with the loss of that spirituality, that it fills in the void. Secular education, those who come out with their formulas, and when the formula don't work, and the formula never will work. You know why? Because there's always going to be somebody among us that will not do what he's supposed to do. You give a nation welfare, and you know what's going to happen. Sooner or later, somebody is going to abuse it. Then the system has to be reoperated. But not for those who come out of Harvard and Yale. There's only one thing to do. Create more welfare. That's the answer. Absolute nonsense. Now, there is an issue that has arisen. Under the abominable service of Barack Obama, homosexuality was put on a pedestal. Just a few years back, it was deemed through the world of psychology and psychiatric work that this was a mental illness. Well, they changed all those rules. And Mr. Obama painted up the White House in rainbow colors, so proud that now two men could get married. But it wouldn't end there, as sin never does end anywhere. It moved then to the protection and the legitimizing of transgenders. The next step is the allowing and the legalization in one form or the other of child molestation. Well, see, there's nowhere else to go now. And that is the truth, what I just said. Some form of it. It'll always be worded different. That's what they do. But some form of it will be let go. That's the next step. It has to be. From homosexuals and men marrying men being common, to transgenders. Now, men who say they're a woman can go in your daughter's bathroom with her. That is absolute insanity. But the Harvard elites, Princeton and Yale, fights for it tooth and nail because they see it only as equal rights. They don't see it as confusion and destruction. So, under Obama, the Pentagon was made to receive now not only homosexuals into the military, but they were to receive transgenders into the military. And, of course, if the transgender, as the article said, was so confused about his gender or her gender or its gender, then the Pentagon would pay for that man or that woman to go through this sex change operations. And of course the Pentagon is going to pay for it with my money, the taxpayers' money. Now I would say this. If you are so confused that you don't know if you are a boy or a girl, then I think that probably there's something so mentally disturbed in your mind that if that is a major confusion of yours, that I really wouldn't want to be with you in wartime situations, because if something that simply undressing in front of a mirror should straighten out your problem about what you are, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where clear decisions would have to be made in an instant. Flying bombers are getting bombed. It just doesn't make common sense. But then to take my money and pay for that person's sex change is abominable. To take my money and the taxpayers' money, because now a man wants to become a woman and me pay for it. And not only that, but the military will now lose the person for 2 years while they're receiving their hormones and while he is becoming she. Well, there was an article in the Drudge Report the other day, and I read it, and the article said, "Man has a baby." I thought, wow, what in God's name have they done now? Then I read the article. The man that was having the baby was actually a woman who was now going through the sex change. So he now had a baby. So now men can have a baby. But the man who had the baby was a woman. Then I thought, what about Bruce Jenner, who has now become Caitlyn Jenner? Now, he has now become she. But she still can't have a baby. But the she that become a he can have a baby. You're looking at a generation coming up that not only is not going to know their right hand from their left, you're looking at a generation coming up that's going to be so confused by this foolishness that somebody's going to have to give them permanent and moment by moment instructions to breathe in and breathe out. It is absolute insanity. Now, Bruce Jenner, who's become Caitlyn Jenner, can't have a baby. You know why? Because Caitlyn really is a man, and men can't have babies. This woman who became a man, she or he or it, whatever, he can now have a baby because he really is not a he is a she. Because see, only women can have babies and men never can. That's what clears it up. But of course we can't do that. If we do, we are threatened with fines or jail time, because you can't say what the truth is in a world where the wicked has taken control, because they won't let you speak. Only they can. And the reason for that is because they know themselves that what you say makes a whole lot more sense than what they say. And if you get to get heard, well, they lose their support. Nonetheless, a Republican from Missouri put a bill in the Congress to shut this down. Taxpayers are not going to pay for that. The bill got stopped. The bill got stopped, 214 to 209. The swaying votes came from Republicans. 24 Republicans sided with the transgender issue, that our military should lose those men, women, for up to 2 years while we pay for them to turn into something else. It was Republicans, 24 Republicans. I have the list, and I will put it on the website for you to look at. California, 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 California. Why am I surprised? Colorado, Florida, 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 Michigan, Michigan, New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey, New York, New York, New York, New York, New York. Why am I surprised? Pennsylvania, 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 Virginia, and Washington. You really need to go to the website, and you really need to look at those 24 Republicans, because common sense tells you those 24 Republicans who ran making completely different promises than that they would support transgenders in the military, having transgender surgeries, and making us pay for it. If you want to become a man or a woman or whatever you desire to become, I will not stand in your way. but you ain't making me pay for it. That is common sense, really. Take a look at the website. See who these are that promises one thing and delivers another. And there's only one common sense thing to do about them. And that is, when the next election season comes up, any of you who are godly, Christians, common sense, or Republicans, remove them from office and do not replace them with Democrats. No. Who you want in office, you want the one of whom the Republican side and the Democratic side says that man or that woman is crazy. That's who you want in office. Trust me.
I'd like to take a load off of you. Just put it on my back and I'll carry it too. You look like you could use a day or two. Get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load for you. All of these troubles are not yours alone, 'cause you my brothers and my sisters, and this is our home. Won't you take yourself a day or two and get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load for you. That's the way it should be. I help you and you help me. We got to live as brothers. Got to have some love one toward another. I'd like to take a load off of you. Just put it on my back and I'll carry it too. Like you could use a day or two. Get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load